Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's video we're going to sew this beautiful Bubu short gown, cold shoulder with asymmetric sleeve, okay, asymmetric neck rather. So I folded my fabric into four, as you can see. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I'll be cutting both the front and the back together. Okay, so the length of the gown I'm cutting is 38 inches plus 2 inches sewing folding allowance. That's 40 inches. That's 14 inches. I'll rule a straight line. So from this straight line, I'll mark the neckline. That's 4 inches by 3. The depth is 3 inches. The wideness is 4 inches. I'm cutting both the front and the back neck the same. Then from this point, I'll mark my shoulder line, which is 8.5. Okay, then since it's a together sleeve, I'll measure how many that I want my sleeve to be. So from here, I'll be adding extra 9 inches. Remember, it will have a band. So the band of 2 inches will make it 11 inches for the sleeve. So the together sleeve I have here is from the shoulder is 17 inches plus 2 inches. That's 19 inches. So after that, I'll now mark 1 inch for shoulder slope. And I'll take it down to the neckline. So from this shoulder line, I will mark where my sleeve will start. So I'll mark 12 inches for the sleeve opening. 12 inches, or rather 11 inches for the sleeve opening. Let's do 11 inches. So from the shoulder, I will get my half length, which is 17 inches. So I will rule a straight line. 17 inches for my half length. So remember, here is my sleeve opening. Here is 17 inches for my half length. So I will divide my half and my waist by 4. So my waist is 44 divided by 4. That's 11 inches. Then I'll be adding extra 3 inches for fullness. So that's 14 inches. So I'll rule this 14 inches to my sleeve opening, and I'll connect it with a straight line. So from this part, I'll curve this sleeve because I don't want the sleeve to be as it is. This is how the sleeve will be. Then from the waistline, I'll get my hip line, which is 9 inches. Then I'll divide my hip by 4. The hip measurement is 48 divided by 4. That's 12 plus 3 inches sewing allowance. That's 15. So I'll connect the hip line to the waistline, and whatever I mark on the hip is what I'm going to mark on the down part, so which is 15 inches. So I'll connect it down to the hip line, and I'll cut it out, and then we'll proceed on how to work on the dormant neck. So I'll cut the neckline. So after this, I'll open it up. So at this point now, let me keep it this way. So at this point, you have to determine where you want want the dormant neck to be. Okay, whether you want it at the right or at the left. Okay, so this is the right side of the cloth and this is the back of it. So at this point now, all I have to do is to mark a straight line from this neckline. So from here to the neckline is 4 inches. If you remember, when I folded it, I measured 4 inches. So I'm going to measure 4 inches from the center and mark a straight line, connecting it to the neckline. So after marking the 4 inches straight line, the next thing I have to do now is to, from this part, from the neckline, I'll come down by 9 inches. I'll mark 9 inches here. Then from this from this point, I'll mark 5 inches. 5 inches. And at this center line, I'll mark 2 inches. Remember, from here to here, I mark 9 inches. Then from the neckline down, I mark 4 inches. Then from the center neckline, I come down by 2 inches. So I'm going to connect this neck from here down to this 2 inches, down to this 5 inches, and down to this 9 inches. Please, if it is necessary, always pin. Always pin down your clothes. So let me connect with a shock first. So this is what I'm going to mark out. Okay, this is going to serve as our dormant neck. So I'm going to cut it out. So after cutting it out, the next thing is to cut out the black material. That's for the neckline. So to cut the neck, I've placed the black material that I'll use. Then I'll place the neck on the neck on it. Please always pin. Always pin. If it is necessary, always pin. So I'll carve out the neckline on it, or rather cut it out immediately. So after cutting it out this way, then I have to mark 3 inches. So right now I'll be marking 3.5 inches all around. 3.5 inch. The half inch will be for the joining allowance. So after marking 3.5 inch, I will now cut it out. So I cut both the front and the back together. So this is it for the, so all I have to do now is I will remove my pins. and I'll open it up. So all I will do now is I'll take this as it is, I'll shift it. See, this is the right side, this is the wrong side. Why this is the right side of my material? So I'll shift it and place this one on top, and I'll sew it. So after sewing it, I will now flip it over. So let me go to the machine and sew, but I'll pin it first. After sewing it, I've sewed it, I've notched it. So the next thing I have to do is to go and top stitch it. I'll top stitch on this fabric, not on the black material. I'll top stitch. After top stitching, I'll flip it to the right side. After top stitching, I will flip it to the right side like this, and I'll iron it very well and very neat. So I will do the same thing to this one. Let's proceed. Yes, I've top stitched it, as you can see, even this part. Then before, I'll now turn it to the right side. I'll turn it to the right side. I will iron first because we are going to cut out something from this part. We are going to cut out something, so I'll iron it flat first before we proceed. If you look at the picture, you will see that this part is straight. Okay, so we'll get there. So at this part, I'll keep my tape, my chalk ruler this way, sorry, and I'll mark it straight. So I'm going to cut it out, and I'll also cut this part out. I'll place what I cut out from here. So the next thing I have to do now is I'll fold this part. I'll fold it in and sew. I'll fold it in and sew. Then I'll also fold this part in and sew. So I'll use my iron and hemming gum to hem it down. As you can see, I have ironed it flat, and I also put hemming gum to hold it down. So this is the part that I cut out. I also fold it down. So all I have to do is to run a stitch on it. I'll run a stitch to hold it down, and the same thing this side. And this is the second one. One piece is the front, one piece is the back. I've also done the same thing on this part. I'll go and run a stitch. So after running a stitch at the front, I'll now join the both shoulders. I'll join this shoulder here with 1/2 inch, and I'll also join this part with 1/2 inch. Okay, so after sewing the neck, this is what I have. You see how neat it is. So the next thing is now is to cut out the stripe. To cut out the stripe, so for you to cut out the stripe, you need to measure how many inches of stripe you want to cut out according to the length of your gown. This is the center line of this gown, and this is the 4 inches I measure for the neckline. Okay, so from this 4 inches I'll do -5. Remember, from the shoulder line I come down by 5 inches while trying to get this shape. So I'll do -5 inches and then measure the full length of the gown. So here I have 40 inches, and remember I folded this gown into two for the front and the back. This 40 inches I have to measure both for the front and the back. So front is 40 inches, back is 40 inches. That is going to give me 80 inches. You hear? So I'll cut out a stripe of 80 inches. A stripe of 80 inches. So I've cut out the long stripe. This is folded by 2. This is 3.5. It's 7 inches. Folded by 2 is giving me 3.5. So the length I need is 80 inches, but the material I have is not up to 80 inches. So I cut out 2 different stripes. So I'm going to join the both. I'll join it with 1/2 inch. After joining it with 1/2 inch, then I'll stitch it straight. I'll stitch it all straight with 1/2 inch. So I'll do that now. At this point, I didn't even know that my mic is no longer recording, that my mic has off. So as you can see, I've sewn the stripe and also stitched one side of it, one edge of it, so that it can enable me to turn the stripe inside out. So I used my ruler to turn it inside out. After that, I have to cut out that area that I stitched, so that I'll place the line, the stitching line at the middle. I want the stitching line to be at the middle. I don't want it to be seen or to be noticed. So after that, the next thing I have to do is to iron this thing, this stripe, very well, very flat. I have to iron both the front and the back, making sure that the stitching line is at the center, is at the middle, so that when I place it on the clothes, you will not be seeing the stitching line. So I keep ironing. Guys, if you have watched to this stage, please like, share, comment, subscribe to my channel, support me to grow. It's not easy to do this video. Support me, give me morale to continue, please. So after ironing the stripe, all I have to do is to bring out the gown, and now the next thing is to indicate the center line of the gown. As you can see, I use my ironing to indicate the center line of the gown. So from that center line, you have to mark 4 inches to get the neck area. Remember, the neck width is 4 inches. So you have to get 4 inches. That's the line that I'm rolling out. So after rolling out the 4 inches, the next thing is on how to fix the stripe. Okay, so on this stripe, I have it joined. I joined mine because I don't have a fabric that will give me 80 inches length without joining. So I joined the center. So that joining area will be at the shoulder for me. Okay, and the stitching line will be inside. So all I have to do is to measure 5 inches from that joining line. I'll measure 5 inches, and then from that 5 inches I will start pinning it on the gown. As you can see, you see me measuring 5 inches with my tape. It's very important to work with your tape so that you'll be accurate. Don't do a guessing work. So after that, the next thing is to start pinning it. I need to pin it. I will need to use the pin to hold it, to secure it, because I'm going to run a stitch straight down on it. That's the essence of pinning it. If I didn't pin it while sewing it, I might make mistake, or the stitches might not be straight enough. That's why I need to pin it down, so that I can be able to achieve a neat work. As a fashion designer, I don't play with my ironing and my pin. I always make use of it. So being a perfect fashion designer does not mean you cannot use pin, because all of it has its own work. It's meant for you to use it and secure your fabric down for neat finishing. So after pinning it down, the next thing I have to do is to flip it over. Remember, this stripe is at both the front and the back, so I have to flip it over. Then I will indicate the midpoint, the center line of this gown. So I will indicate the 4 inches line that I mark. I'll use my ruler to roll it out for you to see the line clearly. Okay, so the line is very important to avoid mistake. And you see, this gown is very simple, very simple and unique. If you watch this video very well, I bet you that you can be able to sew this gown on your own. Even if you are not a good fashion designer, even if you are still learning, with this video you can sew this gown perfectly and rock it very well. So after indicating the line, the next thing I have to do is to measure 5 inches again. From that joining line, I'll measure 5 inches, and then I'll place it beside the 4 inches line and I will start pinning. Okay, it's very important. And while you are cutting and sewing, always iron, always press your clothes. It makes your work neat and it makes your work turn out well. I hope I'm not talking too much, so let me not bore you with my too much talk. So after I've marked the 5 inches, the next thing is I'll start pinning. I pin it till the end of the gown. So after pinning, I have to cut out the excesses that I have at the down parts. Okay, so the next thing I have to do now is to take this gown to I'll take this gown to my sewing machine and run a straight line stitch. It's very important to be straight and neat. Then after running that side, I will flip it over and run a stitch to the other side. So I'm stitching both the front and the back side. Okay, so after that I proceed. Guys, I have finally top stitched it. As you can see, very neat, both the front and the back. Very neat. And the funny part of this cloth is that you can wear anywhere you like. You can keep anywhere as front or back. This can be your front, this can be your back. It depends on your choice. So the next thing I have to do now is at the sleeve area. I've already cut out the band, so I'll fix the band. I'll fix the band here, and I also fix the band for this side. I also fix the band for this side. I've cut it out. Then after fixing the band, the next thing is to hem the down part. I've already ironed it. I fold it down, so I run a stitch on the down part. That's for the hemming for the both side. Then after that, I will now turn it this way. I will now turn it this way to close the side. Okay, so I will close the side with 1 inch allowance. So before I close the side, I will measure my pocket opening. This is the pieces for the pocket. I don't have enough fabric, so I have to join the pocket. So from the shoulder here, I'll measure my half length, which is 17 inches. From the 17 inches, I will come down by 7 inches. So I'll be attaching my pocket on this part. So I will also measure this to the other side. So I'll measure 17 inches. From the 17 inches, I'll come down by 7 inches. So this is the opening for the pocket. So I'll close it from this shoulder by 1 inch. When I get to this point, I'll top stitch. Then I'll leave this part open. I'll stitch from here again to the down part. So I'll do the same to the other side and I will show you. Okay guys, I finally stitched the band. Then I've closed the two sides and I also hem the down part. So this is the final look of the dress. This is what the dress looks like.